One of the remarkable aspects of poetry is its versatility in expression. Whether it is capturing the beauty of nature, or it is about exploring the complexities of our love, or confronting the challenges of the modern world that we are doing right now also, poetry provides a huge canvas for expressing, for painting a myriad of emotions and themes. We have shared through this conference pains of the war, sufferings of the victims, heaviness of our hearts, but also we have shared hopes for a brighter and peaceful tomorrow. A contemporary poet, Mary Oliver, echoes this sentiment very beautifully, asserting, I quote, "Poetry is a life-cherishing force, for poems are not words, after all, but fires for the cold, ropes led down to the lost, something as necessary as bread in the pockets of the hungry," unquote. So these words by Oliver emphasize the therapeutic and transformative power of poetry, suggesting that it can be a source of solace and guidance in the tumultuous terrain of contemporary life. So once again, on this third day, for the auspicious beginning of the proceedings of the conference, I wish to invite Dr. Janelle Singh Anand for his welcome address. Dr. Anand, please.
Thank you, Dr. Praneeth. My worthy friends from the world of poesy, when I was in 8th standard, I read a line. I still don't know who wrote it. He who the voice of poesy disdains, he who the voice of poesy disdains is a barbarian, be he who he may. I think whether it was Shelley or Philip Sidney, one of them has written this in this line. I am here to welcome you all to another poetic evening. Today our chief guest is Professor Dr. Jeffrey Levitt from Greece. It is my pleasure to announce that he will be conferred Academy Award for his lifetime services to the world of letters. And he is also conferred Fellowship of the International Academy of Ethics. I also wish to welcome our senior friends, Dr. Basudev Chakrabarti, Dr. Maya Harman Sekulik, Dr. Bina Singh, Dr. Hamid Nazar Khan from Iran, and a very talented and committed poetry lover from Chennai, Shri Jairam Seshadri. Today we are also going to release a book of short stories by Principal Surendra Lalji from MM Modi College. We have senior creators of poetry from all over the world who have joined us today as chair, co-chair, guests of honor, or guest poets. To all the dedicated souls, I express my deep thanks and accord them a warm welcome. I wish to very specifically mention that we are thankful to our friends and colleagues who have acted as anchors and moderators. On previous days, Dr. Praneeth Jaggi, Dr. Sarita Sharma, Meenakshi Goswami, and Dr. Sandhya K. Rao acted as anchors and moderators. Today we have very talented group of poets, Harinder Chima, Dr. Sushminderjit Kaur, and Dr. Shalini Yadav, who are performing this onerous task. I, on behalf of the World Poetry Conference, Azad Foundation, and International Academy of Ethics, convey my deep thanks to them, in addition to our own family members, Dr. Lalit Mohan Sharma, Dr. Molly Joseph, and our very talented, very committed host, Professor Randhir Gautam, and all those friends who have joined this event today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Anand, am I audible? Panditji?
Yes.
Yes,
You are audible.
yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
I'm present here, okay?
Just wait, Hanj. Just
Okay.
wait. We are calling you.
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Anand, for that motivation, because it is your motivation, your management, your planning, which brings us all together on one single platform, and we share our views and our perspectives with such ease and beauty. So thank you for motivating us to be poets as we are. I now wish to invite the Vice President of International Academy of Ethics, Dr. Maya Herman Sekulic, who is an internationally published Serbian-American author of 21 books and one of the most quoted on the International Academia Educational site, a multiple awarded poet. And on a more personal tone, I would like to add, she is a poet par excellence, full of beauty, versatility, dexterity. She's an enthusiast in literature and a beautiful soul herself. So I welcome her also on board, and I invite her. It is either her video or she is herself present, I'm not sure, to welcome all the participants of this conference. Dr. Maya.
Hi, this is Maya Herman Sekulic, Vice President of the Academy, and
Unmute. I can.
Randhirji, please play.
There is a technical glitch, so I will play this video only after 15 minutes. So
Okay, so we move on, no issues with that. So we move on. I would now like to invite the chairperson, the chairman of our organizing committee, Dr. Vasudev Chakraborty. Professor Vasudev, we are all familiar with him. He is former professor of English and faculty dean of the University of Kalyani, West Bengal. He's been associated with various foreign universities also, although retired. But I must say he is a very active scholar, a voracious reader, an erudite scholar, a serious critic, and a great poet. He's regular in writing poetry, and the kind of poetry that he writes, it is astonishing. I invite you, sir, as the chairman of the organizing committee of this conference, to say a few words and recite your poems. Dr. Vasudev. Sir, unmute yourself. Professor Vasudev Chakraborty, unmute yourself, please.
I think he's not there.
He's there. He just stepped in.
No, he's not in front of camera, I think.
Okay, he might have left for a few minutes. Do we have Dr. Beena Singh with us now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, ma'am, have you joined? Okay, ma'am has joined the session. Okay, so moving on, we have a bevy of scholars with us today, and a galaxy of poets also. So among our honorable guests of honor in the inaugural session of the conference today, I am Professor Beena Singh amongst us. Professor Beena Singh is an acclaimed scholar, a beautiful poet and a writer, former head of the Department of English, VKM, BHU Varanasi. With over 40 years of teaching experience in English literature and language, she has 9 published books, 3 in English literature and language, and 5 anthologies of poems. And her latest publication is a book of Hindi poems entitled Pighalte Lamhe. She is also a member of various academic and socio-cultural bodies and a life member of the Theosophical Society of India, president of Lions Club Varanasi Tulsi. She is a very active social activist also. I welcome her on board and I invite her to recite her poem. Professor Beena.
Okay. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
You can hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Pretty clear.
Okay.
Please.
Okay, so can I start my recitation? Varmi?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Thank you so
ma'am.
much
Yes, ma'am.
for giving such a wonderful introduction. I will not take time because my friend Anand told me that I have to just recite 2 poems and say goodbye to all of you because there is a whole line of poets.
Say goodbye to all of you. nahi.
नहीं मतलब reading poetry.
That I
Although he
never
knows
said.
that poetry is my first love and I just can't, stop. But anyway, we have to keep the time management. Thank you for inviting me, Anandji. You always keep me connected with the love that I have, poetry.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll just, without wasting any time, I'm going to read my first poem. I have titled it Return of a New Dawn, because as the topic suggested by our organizing committee and our Honorable Chairperson J.S. Anand, that poetry is the only hope for tomorrow. So I'm just trying to express and voice that hope through these lines, through my words. The crimson rays filter through my window, giving birth to a new dawn. Twinkling waves floating on the grey walls, twinkling waves floating on the grey walls, dispel the darkness. Light entering through the window, seeped within me. Light entering through the window, seeped within me, illuminating the darkness in and out. Stimulated an awakening, a new awakening, giving birth to a new consciousness. Relit with Tagore's words that faith is the bird that sings while dawn is still dark. I too responded to my new state of being. Committed to a new promise, I dared to step out. I moved towards the new road. But the unfamiliar path halted my steps. Fear of being knocked down pushed me back. I retreated. Next morning, once again, the morning star knocked at my window. Next morning, once again, the morning star knocked at my window. I pulled down the shutters, whispering of a new dawn, gave courage to move out once again. The whispers of a new dawn gave me courage to move out once again. And so, once again, I stepped on the road not taken before. However, as I moved, the dust storm welcomed me. Yellow smoke blurred my vision. Fear of failure once again gripped me. My pole star was beyond my reach. The thick dust gradually encircled visibility in its ravishing embrace. The thick yellow dust gradually encircled visibility in its ravishing embrace. Struggling the thickening silence, I whispered his name. Clutching my fallen faith, holding my fallen faith, I closed my eyes, wishing the return of a new silvery dawn. wishing the return of a new silvery dawn. Can I recite one more? Do I have time, Parmeet?
Sure, ma'am. Sure, a short poem,
Okay.
please.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay. Just one small one. I believe myself to be a romantic mystic. So I always try to talk about, look about, search for that mysticism in and out. So this goes like this: still waiting. That's how I've titled it. Fathomless blue deep, canopied under the limitless ozone. Fathomless blue deep, canopied under the limitless ozone. The enigmatic charisma, the immeasurable celestial realms, all mine. The immeasurable celestial realms, all mine. I crave to lose myself. Yes, I crave to lose myself in the crystalline depth. The more I try to reach it, but the more I try to reach it, unreached it becomes. The transparent, tantalizing waves, the swirling clouds, like the entangled locks of Minette, fiercely bewitch me. Yeah, fiercely bewitch me, captivating, capturing me completely. I love this captivity, but I love this captivity and willingly surrender. But my thirst is still unquenched. My soaring wings fail to reach, and the desired zenith remains unreached. I continue to float on the silvery surf. I continue to float on the silvery surf. My wings ceaselessly flutter between the blue and white spell. My wings ceaselessly flutter between the blue and white spell. The lucid serenity, enchanting, enthralling, electrifying my yearning. And I, bleeding in the mesmerizing arena, and I, bleeding in the mesmerizing arena, look for my savior to lift me, to take me absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. That was subtle yet beautiful. Touching notes, chords of beauty inside the souls. Thank you for joining us, and it's always a delight to have us.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much.
I have the privilege of inviting our next honorable guest of this session, Mr. Hamid Nazar Khan Ali Sarai from Iran. Is Mr. Hamid with us? Dr. Anand, has he joined us? Okay, so welcome. Mr. Hamid Nazar Khan is a renowned poet, writer, storyteller, journalist, popular culture researcher in Iran. He's been a member in a prestigious committee member of various committees in Iran of poetry and literature associations. He's also been the organizer and secretary to short story festivals and other events in his country. He's been the head of the jury in competitions. His poems and writings have been published in written as well as electronic forms in Iran and other countries like in languages like Persian, Albanian, Chinese, Korean, Italian, Spanish, Arabic, and English. It is such a privilege to have you in our session today, sir. And I welcome you and I invite you to recite your poetry among us all. Mr. Hamid.
Put گیلکی سبستر ایاز خواب دندره سبستر ایاز خواب دندره ابلکو بجارتن تو شخشخه آسمان رامتن اشمردن داره هوا یک فندرم شروع مجه اوی ربا تری تا سیانی عطر فیلیچه آنه وقتی نیسایی پر سیاکلا چه رنگ فیچاله زده سیاکلا چه رنگ فیچاله زده آزادداران ازاره کره ارسو finished. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. Your presence was indeed delightful. I now wish to invite another luminary who has joined us today, Mr. Jairam Sheshadri. I know him as a poet, philosopher, but also as an actor and director. He is the author of a contemplative book, Mantra Yoga, which is a kind of a mystery and an enigma for me because I would love to read it. And also a book, Whoop Songs, which is about his pet dogs. His love for English language is visible from his voice as well as his words. I'm sure everybody is going to enjoy. And Jairam sir, I must admit that I have secretly seen glimpses of King Lear, directed by you, and I was enchanted and ensnared by those glimpses. His love for refinement and perfection cannot escape the eye. So I am delighted and so happy to invite Mr. Jairam Sheshadri to present his poetry.
Right, our guest, I think, has joined chief guest, but after
Yeah, we'll take him after Mr. Sheshadri. Jairam sir, you are invited on the dais and may we have the pleasure of listening to your poetry.
Thank you, Dr. Jaggi. Thank you, Dr. Anand. I'm completely awed by Dr. Anand and Dr. Jaggi's teamwork and the ability to get so many things together to stage this. And I'm also very, very honored to be on this little get together. Thank you, Dr. Jaggi, also for your very kind words. You're you flatter me and you honor me so much. I came across a quote that I would like to just share, just like Dr. Anand shared with us. This is also anonymous. When poetry puts its arms around me, I am home. And you all have always put your arms around everyone and you bring them all home. So I'm honored to be reading my poem and I'll quickly do that. It is titled The Great Unrememberer. I've shared it with others, and it follows a quote by William Wordsworth. And the quote goes, "The best portion of a good man's life is his little nameless, unremembered acts of kindness." William Wordsworth. So in response to that quotation, I wrote this poem. In the here and now, and indeed in the great beyond, the great unrememberer keeps the cosmos humming, the meteors streaming, leaving blazing trails. Arranges for an eclipse of our sun now and then eclipses other larger suns elsewhere that get swallowed up by black holes. And then decides, enough, a sunstorm now, and a moonstorm that triggers a tsunami of wild that alters destinies of the many. And a billion light years away in another cosmos, the great unrememberer fashions new planets for races who are defiling their current abode beyond repair, beyond care. Far from performing only such acts of cosmic significance, the great unrememberer humbly kneels and provides seashells in not so distant shores, so children may dig these many colored baubles, spit on them, polish them on their soiled t-shirts, and put them in a jar to be forgotten. Not giving a thought to the great unrememberer who provided, not giving a thought to the ridiculous white fluffs of cloud hovering, assuming shapes of hope, not giving a thought to the unremembered thoughts that emanate from a benign eye in continuous streams, that of the great unrememberer, who himself is eternally hidden, yet continually performs the next unremembered act. Thank you, Dr. Jaggi. Thank you, Dr. Anand. It's been a pleasure and an honor to read this poem in front of you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. In just one statement, I would just like to wind up this beautiful session by saying that I felt I was transported to either the Elizabethan age or the neoclassical age. I was trying to decide in which age I am, but somewhere I have been transported. It is either the Shakespearean theatre, the Globe theatre, or the neoclassical drama. It was a kind of a synchronicity working in my mind as to what I should call it, but a beautiful combination of science, philosophy, and poetry. Thank you so much for joining us.
Praneeth, Dr. Basudev or Jeffrey Lovett, please try them.
Yeah, Dr. Basudev, are you there? Please let me know if you're there, sir. Yeah. So Dr. Basudev, yes, we had invited you earlier also. Let me introduce you once again. As the chairman of the organizing committee of this conference, I invite you to say a few words in a poem. Being an erudite scholar, a serious critic, and a great poet amongst us, your motivation works a lot, and we love to work underneath your umbrella. You are invited, sir.
Thank you all. This is my proud privilege to attend any conference, any meeting, or any kind of creative activities organized by the chairperson, Dr. Janal Anand, Dr. Praneeth Jaggi, and other erudite scholars and creative writers. This evening, I intend to read a poem immediately after the end of the semester on American novels in the University of Houston, Texas, sometime in 1979. I took 3 years to complete my integrated PhD program, but I couldn't did my PhD over there because my mother was sick and I had to come back. So after that semester that offered us a course on American literature, I had to read Melville's Moby Dick. So since then, I started writing, but very casually without any serious thought to it. After retirement, practically, sometime in 2064, I have diverted my attention from that area to this creative writing. I wrote a poem, the title of which is The Priest and the Beast. Occasion after the end of the semester on American literature at one American university. So let me read the poem. Melville's Moby Dick is an American epic, a great saga, S-A-G-A, saga of mankind in prose, presenting a cosmic war between the two military powers, the good and the bad, evil. Next paragraph. I ask myself, what is Captain Ahab? A Christ figure? An emblem of all and an absolute good? My other self says, yes, he is, and he is definite. He is the sane side, S-A-N-E. He is the sane side of man. He is William Blake's benign and benevolent lamp, L capital letter. Next paragraph. What is the sperm whale? White whale. Who the white whale? Is he Black's tiger? T capital letter. Is he Black's tiger? A blankness of evil? A giant force that will crush man's joy of life? An eternal enemy of man? A cruel fate? Truly an epic. The war between the darkness and the light still presides over our life today. Next paragraph. In our own self, live, L-I-V-E, live, both a priest and a beast, B-E-A-S-T. Together, these two hostile forces become omnipotent to undo all good that priests command. The Syria, the Gaza in Palestine, and some global pockets. I add Palestine and Gaza just now. It was the Syria, Kuwait. In those days, there was a war between Kuwait and the United States. And Indo-Iraq, between the two countries, Iran and America, there was a time when, at that time I was in the USA, at that time 487 hostages in Iran in those days. And there was a animosity, bitter animosity between the US and Iran. King of Shah became a political garbage and took political asylum in the United States. I was then there at University of, I was then at the USA. The Syria, Gaza, and some global pockets are born killer of thousands of people, a genocide. The League of Nations, the United Nations, all we have formed, often peace missions. Nothing defeats the beast in our genes. Unless unless we groom ourselves how to bridle, B-R-I-D-D-L-E, how to bridle our own poetic sensibilities that will inspire our hidden priest in our mind, lying within us, to be more stronger and stronger. Houston, dated 15/9/1979. I wrote this poem at that time. Then it has been published. Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Anand, Dr. Arnit Jaggi, and others. I am very much happy and honored to present myself. Thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you for getting us close to the realistic picture of the horrors of war and also the binaries of life. Thank you so much. I now take this privilege to invite our chief guest of the inaugural function of today's days of the conference. We have with us Honorable Jeffrey Levitt, who is the founding dean of the National School of Public Health, Greece, and presently he is the executive director of Eurasian Bridges for Peace, Malaysia, and Coming Together of Islam and Christianity, Europe and Asia. It focuses on philosophy of Quran, and he's also working as the member and president of various other committees. For example, the honorary president of the Athens-based World Philosophical Forum. Jeffrey Levitt's career bridges the Industrial Revolution in England, covering engineering and physics, and the Digital Revolution in USA, covering subjects like bioengineering, bionics, physiology, life sciences, and community health. In America, he has held positions in information engineering, biomedical engineering, and physiology, with teaching hospital experience as chairman of biomedical engineering. His research included non-linearities in vision and other neural systems, medical algorithms, etc. He's written more than 100 articles and is the recipient of many international prizes like the UC Peace Prize, referred to as the Nobel Peace Prize of the East, for his services to global public health, etc. Currently, he studies social dementia. He writes poetry and participates in a developing collaboration on the work of Nikola Tesla. He lives in Athens and considers himself a citizen of the earth. Brilliant, sir. I'm so delighted to invite you to share your views and poetry today on this platform. Mr. Jeffrey. Mr. Jeffrey Levitt, please unmute yourself if you're hearing me.
Not there.
Okay. Once again, we move on and we may come back to him once he joins in again. I now next invite our honorable guest for this session, Principal Surinder Lalji. He's been with us in all our conferences earlier also. Principal Surinder Lalji has been a lecturer in physics, and after teaching for almost 4 decades, he retired as principal of M.M. Modi College, Patiala. He has authored several books on physics and was honored with the Distinguished Author Award by the Federation of Education Publishers, New Delhi. He has several books, several collections of poetry also, Love, Laughter, His Leela, etc. He has 3 novels also, and presently he's working and contributing his services as a member of Modi Education Society. And he also has a book release today. I invite you, Surinder Lalji, I invite you with your book so that we may all see what is the new venture, and you can talk about it and also recite your poems, sir. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, Madam Jaggi. I feel immensely honored. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, please.
Yes.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
I feel immensely honored in getting this opportunity of releasing my fifth book on English literature in the presence of a galaxy of great literary personalities in the fifth World Poetry Conference. A couple of years ago, two of my poetry books were released in the World Poetry Conference. All this has happened due to the love and affection of my dear friend, Dr. J.S. Anand, who has always been a source of encouragement and inspiration to me. Now I will, as a foreword, a few words about the book. I will just read out the author's note. That will speak about the book a bit. It is, this is the book, I'm reading the author's note right here. It is rightly said that the universe is made up of stories and not of atoms. Every animate or inanimate has a story within its scope. Though everyone has a story to share with others, it is only an intense inner urge that brings it to light. And then stories just happen, not made. In my case, it happened while brooding over the life in the cremation ground where the mortal remains of one of my dearest friends were lying on the pyre, awaiting cremation. Not able to cope up with the agony building up inside me, I got aside and sat on a bench under the shade of a banyan tree. And what a coincidence! A huge pamphlet lying on the ground, after being swept away by the wind, came to rest near my foot. On one side of that pamphlet was an advertisement. The other side was just plain. It seemed beckoning to me to share my story with it. And as if possessed, I started scribbling and brought all that was tormenting me on the paper to the best of my ability. Thus was born my first story, Alive in the Procession of the Dead. This otherworldly experience spurred me to look back and reflect all that happened so far in my life and around me. Lo and behold, there were stories galore, stories of my childhood, of my friends, of moments of joy and ecstasy, of despondency and perennial pain. When I started jotting down all my thoughts, I was amazed to find buried in my memory. I started putting these jottings in black and white as rough sketches. Out of these sketches, I have finalized a collection of 34 short stories. The stories in the present collection are primarily meant to seek catharsis of his heart. As events and characters in these stories frequently haunt, I have been able to quieten my mind to an extent by bringing the story to light. I have divided the reflection of the story in two segments. The first segment is about the beyond, then short events, forces, and powers that people believe are real. But not explained by laws of nature. These stories are beyond the gamut of our world of seeing and believing. In fact, it is the unseen that matters in the world beyond science. The second segment is about lust and love. 7 short stories under this section centered around 2 most difficult and intense human feelings towards love and lust. Segment 3 is about 9 short stories under this heading. And narratives telling that life is not always a serious affair. It has its moments of happiness and surprise too. And last segment, there are many anecdotes. 8 short stories in this segment. 8 short stories in this segment. 8 short stories. 8 short stories in this segment. 8 short stories in this segment are about my childhood, my friends, my teachers, and my students. I am hardly aware of the nitty-gritty of the art of storytelling and also the nuances of the English language. I just wish to share what I had in my thoughts all these years. And I must acknowledge that it is my dear friend, Dr. Janal Sehnan, one of the leading world poets, for his generous perspective on these stories and exhorting me to get them published. I feel very much lucky to be part of this 5th WPC and getting my book released. I thank everybody and I wish a great success to the 5th World Poetry Conference. Thank you, Dr. Jaggi, for this opportunity of getting my book released. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. So, Alive in the Procession of the Dead, this was the book sir was holding. Undeniably enriching to hear the stories of an experienced writer as well as a scientist. Thank you for joining us. I now move on to the next session, which is the 4th poetry session of this conference, and I am going to invite Madam Harinder Chima to take over the session as a moderator and carry it forward. Harinder Chima is an internationally renowned, award-winning poet, writer, novelist, author, translator, anchor, educationist, a motivational speaker, and a Naji Naman laureate. She is the only Indian to receive the Naji Naman International Literary Honor for her complete work in 2022. She is also the proud recipient of many prestigious global awards and honors in the field of literature. So glad to have you, Harinder. Please come forward for the moderation of the next poetry session, which is the 4th session in this conference.
Thank you so much, dear Praneeth. A very good evening to a very distinguished gathering, and a very warm welcome to the 5th World Poetry Conference under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Jarnail Singh Anand, Laureate Charter of Morava. It's indeed a moment of great pleasure, pride, and honor for me to be a part of the 5th World Poetry Conference, and also as a poet and as a moderator today in this session, and also a moment of great joy as I witness great souls from all across the world celebrating poetry in these chaotic times. Yes, we are living in fractured times where wars are being fought, and times that are selfish, self-centered, somewhat ugly, and poetry, the last hope of mankind, acts like a balm, acts as a balm on the healing minds. Poetry also acts as a consoler, leading us from hate to love, from violence to mercy and pity. Poetry is also a bridge connecting people from diverse cultures, countries, areas, regions, and making us realize that we may be different in many ways, but we think alike. So poetry is rebuilding and forging a world that is caring and connected. And with great poets here, I'm sure have a power to subvert the dominant paradigm and challenge the status quo of the world and transform it to something better and beautiful. So I definitely believe in the power of the pen. Pen is mightier than the sword. So let's celebrate the power of poetry, the power of verse, the power of words, and the power of pen. To emphasize my point, I would like to recite a small poem and then begin the session by inviting the chair of this session, Vinod Khanna sir. So presenting a small poem for all of you, The Power of the Pen. When a poet writes, he actually spreads his wings to take a flight. He can travel back and forth in time. He can capture the times in his rhymes. He can talk to the sun and the moon. He can comprehend a mother's croon. He can fly to the different lands. He can sleep in the desert sands. He can reach the bottom of the sea. He can talk to the busy bees. He can beckon characters from the past. His interests are many, his areas are vast. He can stir an hornet's nest. He can start a revolution or cause an unrest. He is also the messenger of God sitting in the heaven. So never underestimate the power of the pen. So that was my poem, and now I take this opportunity.
Harinder, please. Our chief guest has joined. Please invite him, Dr. Jeffrey Levitt. Dr. Jeffrey Levitt from.
Okay. So now I have the opportunity of inviting the chief guest of this evening, Dr. Jeffrey Levitt, to the stage. I warmly welcome and I humbly welcome you, sir. Please come and share your thoughts with us.
Thank
Sir
you
Jeffrey Levitt.
very much indeed. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Do you hear me?
Yes, yes. Yes, sir.
I'm very, very happy to be with you. And I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just to tell you that here in Greece we have just completed the 14th Dialectical Symposium of the World Philosophical Forum. And during that time, poetry was expressed. That was the main purpose. It was to appeal to the world to stop the madness that is going on. And during the preparation, I decided to write a poem for this particular occasion, and I will read it to you with no further ado, as Shakespeare would say. Refuge and a remedy to refuse. Vaccines to use, lies that can confuse. Amidst the storm an old and rugged captain cries, we are in peril on the sea. Lament with me as I lament with you. My worn-out ship sinks fast. Sails ripped like gauze in gale-force gusts. Its yellow flag flaps on the waves whipped by the wind, engulfed by raging rains, rushing, gulped down by a dark hold. flooding where provisions for the world are heaped, flooding where provisions for the world are stored, wheat, barley, corn that never will make bread, where disregarded migrants moan and mothers sob, the many baby cries subdued, lost on the screaming wind. The splitting deck gives way, the mast no longer stands. Symbols, trappings of a captain's life go down, with all on board, crew, ballast, migrants too. In mid-flight and fleeing from a land of death, despair, a place where airborne cases rage of what? A land of brutal acts. Escape they made with desperate hope, now fled. For alien refuge on some distant, unseen shore to reach, corroded skins and faces, shocking to behold. No cordon sanitaire on islands further north for them, bodies burning fire and oozing blood, their lifespan coming to an awful close. A captain with no chart to keep his ship on course for home, no antidote to stem the blood and uncorrode a face. The leper's belly has, but no one can hear. No compass and no sextant, soon no sun. In tears, a powerless captain on a sinking boat. Thank you.
Wonderful, sir. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. Thank you so much for gracing this occasion. We are indeed very fortunate to have voices like yours, your great self, being here and inspiring us and motivating us, and also voicing your concerns in these conflicting times through poetry. We are indebted to you, sir, for your presence here. Thank you so much. Sir, you're mute.
I'm audible now, I think. Dr. Levitt, we are very happy that you are among us here. It is a great impetus, a great inspiration for all of us. From our side, we are honoring you with Academy Award in Literature and Philosophy. And our International Academy of Ethics confers on you lifelong fellowship. So congratulations and thanks for your acceptance. So nice of you. Please carry on.
So, heartiest congratulations, Jeffrey Levitt, sir. It is indeed a pleasure and honor to have you with us. So thank you so much for your gracious presence. And now we move on. Now I have the opportunity to welcome the chair of this session, Vinod Khanna sir, whom I know in person, not only as a great writer, but also as a great human being. I would like to introduce you, sir, to the audience with your brief introduction. Vinod Khanna is a professional engineer, a trilingual writer and poet. He has published 10 books and figured in several anthologies. His book, Lamppost, was adjudged as the best poetry book for the year 2014. Several of his articles are published in national newspapers like the Hindustan Times and the Tribune. He is Vice President of Readers and Writers Society of India, Chandigarh. Recently, his upcoming poetry book has been sponsored by Chandigarh Sahitya Academy for publication.
Khanna Sahab, please come over.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for inviting me and putting me on this pedestal. Though I am nobody as compared to all other poets who are joining the conference. My simple poetry, I believe that the poetry should be simple, which is understandable by everybody. So I have a simple poem, but which is relevant to the circumstances which are prevailing now, the war. The poem, should I just start with the poem?
So you're welcome. I'm so sorry there was a technical glitch. You're welcome, and
Yes,
thank you so much for your presence.
I was
Thank
waiting
you.
for you, Harinder, to give me a signal. So
I'm so sorry there was a technical glitch in my device. So you're
happens.
welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir, and we are so indebted to you for your kind acceptance. So you may please start.
Thank you. Actually, the poem is titled Hiroshima. Hiroshima was, the bomb was not dropped on Hiroshima. Actually, it was dropped on whole of Japan because there was a rally of scouts from all over Japan. The children had gathered at 8 a.m. The time was chosen, the city was chosen, and the date was chosen so that the heat travels to each family in Japan whose children were there. So that is not many people know. The heat was up to the level of 7,000 degrees Celsius. At 45 degrees, we start boiling, and that was 7,700 degrees. The poem starts, the heat from fission melted the skin. Little boy committed the gravest sin. Little boy was the name of the bomb which was dropped. Fire and smoke blackened all things. Enola Gay soon took to its wings. Enola Gay was the plane that dropped the bomb. Little boy was the bomb, and Enola Gay was the plane that dropped the bomb. Fire and smoke blackened all things. Enola Gay soon took to its wings. A rally of scouts was on the cards. A rally of scouts was on the cards. Soon the children were hit by shards. Tiffins and food got burnt to a lump. Tiffins and food got burnt to a lump. Whole city looked a garbage dump. Schools, hospitals, homes burnt down. Schools, hospitals, homes burnt down. Hiroshima became the first ghost town. Charred bodies wilt, no help at hand. Charred bodies wilt, no help at hand. 90% of the medical facilities were destroyed. What an insanity, what a wasteland. For decades, a mother didn't close book. If you visit Hiroshima Museum, you will find an open book. The child had an exam on that day, and as we revise on the last moment, he opened that book and went away thereafter. The mother didn't have the courage to close that book for 50 years. For decades, a mother didn't close book. Her son had opened to have a last look. Rivers of tears. Rivers of tears have flown since then. When will end this madness in men? The world may perish without a trace. The world may perish without a trace unless we banish this nuclear race. Enough calamities, much holocaust. Enough calamities, much holocaust. When we learn from mistakes of past. That is the point. And if Harinder allows, there is another short one. I don't know. whether the time permits.
Please go ahead, sir. Please go ahead. It will be a pleasure.
It is again about the war mongers actually. Cannibals, Draculas, human-looking hounds. Cannibals, Draculas, human-looking hounds. The planet with creatures like these abounds. The planet with creatures like these abounds. The air is rife with their cunning schemes. The air is rife with their cunning schemes. Rivers of blood running down their dreams. Rivers of blood running down their dreams. They wish an earth full of graves and tombs. They wish an earth full of graves and tombs. What sons out to disgrace mother's wombs? No compassion, no pity, men cast in stone. No compassion, no pity, men cast in stone. No religion, no God, no confessions to atone. Devoid of love, warmongers, the hated breed, murder and mayhem, their only creed. How with impunity they maim and kill. How with impunity they maim and kill. No second thoughts while blood they spill. Sons of gun don't destroy homes and hearts. Sons of gun don't destroy homes and hearts. Do you want your mothers resent your births? Thank you.
That was absolutely wonderful, sir. Heart-touching, heart-wrenching imagery that you have created in your poems. And I must say that listening to your poems, I'm reminded of Lucille Clifton's quote, "Poetry is a matter of life and not only a matter of language." So when we were listening to your words, they were full of emotions. They were full of images, and we could see your poems. So that is the effect, that is the impact that your poetry has. And I, of course, know you. I keep on reading your poetry, and I really admire you for your skill. So thank you so much, sir, for being with us. And I now want your permission to start the proceedings of the session.
No, you can start, Harinder. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. So now I would like to invite the co-chair of the session, Raja Babu Gandham, and here is his introduction, a brief one. So you're welcome to this 5th World Poetry Conference, and thank you so much for being with us here today. Raja Babu Gandham, MBA, MA English, MA Philosophy, PG Diploma in Mass Communication, PG Diploma in Theatre Arts, a multilingual poet, has been writing poetry since his early school days. He writes in English, Telugu, and Hindi languages. His poems were published in 46 international anthologies. Many of his poems translated into Spanish, French, Italian, Greek, Hebrew, Filipino, Nepali, Hindi, and Oriya languages. His poem won 3rd place in the worldwide contest held in 2016 by World Union of Poets, Italy, won 1st prize in an international poetry contest held by Citadel Gelato of Italy in 2019. He was awarded Master of Metaphor by World Poetry Conference India and Philosophy Poetica International Australia in 2019. He is the winner of the Maharishi Vedvyas International Award for Books 2022. He won 1st prize in short poetry category for his book of micro poems, Brazil. His 4th book of micro poetry is in the final stage of editing. So a very warm welcome to you, sir, Raja Babu Gandham, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Harinder, for your introduction. And thank you very much, Dr. Jarnailji, for providing this platform for us to present ourselves. First, I'll read a few of my macro poems. From the time I am born, my walk is towards my home, my grave. The greatest prison people live in is the fear of what others think about them. Between what you want to say and what actually you said, much love is lost. I wanted to be your unwritten poem and stay within you forever.
Wonderful.
Darkness is my den. Nights are my companions. That's the micro poems. Now I'll read two of my little long poems. The first one is No Entity. Lunatic was I, believing in my own faith, on goodness and truth, maligned, abused, stamped, and crushed. Dumbstruck, my frozen words melted as tears, while I stay within me as a non-entity. The second little longer poem, Beyond. Beyond the boundaries, out of these bounds, I exist within me. Walking these paths, wading those fences, I look within myself. Knowing the myths, seeing these tricks, I pause, peep within. In this momentary life, in these flickers of light, I stay, hoping nothing. These plays around, the games indulged, futile, I know this. The vacant spaces, these voids within, I am pregnant with. These pastures lead through doors within to know the new I. The painted faces, these scented words, stir me not inside. The puzzled jigsaw, the jumbled minds around, gasping for breath. Looking to see, searching to know this journey, a life beyond. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence. And we all know you as the king of micro poetry.
Thank you very much.
There is so much of depth, so much of emotion in your two-liners, in your four-liners, and it's such wonderful to read those poems of yours. So thank you so much, sir. And now we move on to dear brother Shikhtar Mohammed Kibria. Shikhtar Mohammed Kibria from Bangladesh is a globally published, awarded, translated, and featured world-renowned bilingual poet, writer, critic, translator, ambassador, and philosopher. So I welcome you, dear brother. Please, the stage is yours. We are waiting for your presentation. Shikhtar Mohammed Kibria. Are you there, sir?
He's not there, I think.
I think we move on. And now we move on to our guest poets. And before I start inviting the guest poets, I've just got a small request to make that we all need to respect time today, since a lot of poets want to be a part of this conference, and everyone would have that opportunity if we respect time. So please present your precious piece, and it would be appreciable if you do that. So we start with the first poet, guest poet, Mehul Dave. Mehul Dave is an entrepreneur by soul and a writer by passion. And he discovered his inner self as a writer very recently, only a few years back. So welcome, and please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
So I will just take few seconds. I'm overwhelmed here to be present here among these stalwarts. And I was just listening to the details of everyone, and every time I'm listening, I'm getting nervous. So, but still, I would like to present my poetry, and I would like to thank Dr. General S. Anand sir for even considering me for this platform. So, without wasting any further time, as a writer, I have always felt that we have a responsibility as a writer and a poet towards the society. So always I write something which, tries to touch people if they can learn something or they can make something out of it. My poetry goes like, when life goes spellbound. So when life goes spellbound, you just keep searching for the positives spread around. The secret lies in perseverance and belief. You must keep that in mind. Always ignore those hazardous reactions, turning your eyes blind. Life is not a bed of roses, and it challenges us every day, in every way. Graciously accept it, and then thou shalt experience his blessed ray. Just keep moving wherever your heart feels is right. Believing in yourself is the only way you would see the blooming sight. Failure is just a movement. Do not interpret it as that's what is destined. Diamonds, my friends, are always gathered from the black rocks when deeply mined. Let the time come, and that's the most powerful element of the universe to grace you. God will bless then, and your desired success will embrace you. So when in life you feel down, scared, and dejected, ask Almighty to give you strength and blessings. For it's the only you who can fight back the negatives and reject it. Believe in one thing, the deeds you do always come around. So need not worry. Just keep working out goodness and wait for it to manifold rebound. Just be positive today and always. Hear the whispers of nature and feel the blessed sound. Keep moving, my friends, when the life goes spellbound. When the life goes spellbound. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. And
Thank you.
Your poem reminds me of Samuel Johnson's lines that poetry is the art of uniting pleasure with truth. So, of course, whatever you've said is so true, but you've said it so beautifully that it becomes poetry. So thank you so much. Thank you. And now I go on to invite the next poet. We have here Manjula Asthana Mahanti. She is a published trilingual poet, author, editor, translator, and a storyteller, and has 9 books to her credit. So let's hear you out, Manjula Asthana Mahanti.
Hello, everyone. Am I audible?
You are, yes, please go ahead.
So, greetings to one and all. And I congratulate all the participants of Fifth World Poetry Conference and thank for giving me this opportunity to present something before all of you. And thank you so much for this introduction, Harinderji. And without wasting the time, I will just read my poem. First poem is Who You Are. A strong urge knocks, quite often naturally, should be quenched philosophically, as our journey is all about beauty and depth. Within that wears a sheen forever. Every challenge is designed to chisel, sorry, to chisel away at all that's brittle in order to sculpt a fabulous masterpiece in the intrinsic you. Incredible wisdom blossoms as one discovers own unique mission. Begin uncovering true ability. Introspect yourself completely. It's not about what you wish, it's merely about who you are. Mark your persona. Let us put more effort to mine the beautiful, glittering jewels within. Mind that determination without directions is elusive. This is my first poem, and the second one goes like this. This is about love. I am in love. Yes, I am in love. Since ages, I was alone, guarded myself strictly. Strong gates always closed. Moreover, sturdy guards were there always. Yet miraculously, from which corner, hole, or window love slipped in, trapped me. I, prisoner of love now, can't feel or think anything else but love. Enormous flowers covered me. I adored them. My own subsistence shadowed as if I, a new mentality, disposition. Can't find traces of real me. Can't find traces of real me. It's attachment or madness, momentary glance, or someone can penetrate such strong feeling that I forgot real me. Now I am in love. With understand and speak language of love only, no regrets. The best feeling of human being, entertained, take pleasure. Being deprived of love, I was different. Being deprived of love, I was different. But now I have achieved perfection, understood true meaning of life. Love is the source, base of every relationship, convinced. Getting a thrill out of changed beautiful bird.
Hello.
Yes, I am in love. I am in
Yes,
love.
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. And as they say, poetry is like a bird that ignores all frontiers. So we all can relate to what you said through your poetry. Thank you so much for your presence here.
Welcome. Thank
And
you so much.
now there's a small announcement that from 9 to 9:30, we would be having a dinner break, and then we would continue the proceedings.
9 to 9:40.
9 to 9:40 would be a dinner break, and then we would continue the proceedings. So now we move on to the next poet, and we have my dear brother Kalipada Ghosh is here. Kalipada Ghosh is a bilingual poet, critic, essayist, translator, humanist, orator, educationist, and has authored 11 books of poems. Welcome, dear brother. You can go ahead with your presentation.
Hello, good evening to all. I am Kalibata Ghosh, hailing from West Bengal, India. To the Honorable President, Dr. Jarnal Singh Anand, President, Azad Foundation and International Academy of Ethics, and President, 5th World Poetry Conference, and Honorable Chairperson Binod Khannaji, Co-Chairperson Rajbabu Gandhan, and my sisters, Harinder Chima ji. I express my heartfelt gratitude and thankfulness for inviting me to participate in the International 5th World Poetry Conference. My first poem entitled Ecstasy in Love. Ecstasy in Love. We are aware of the fact that poets have no boundaries and poetry unites the whole world. So we are united in our thought, in our presentation, in our all the respects of our life. Ecstasy in love, irresistible emotional outburst, not the violent passion, the playing of the violin, rhythmic, melodious, and resonant. Thinking thought, ecstasy in love and light, springtide and new life, birds twittering at dawn, hopes and expectations. A sheer joy in beauty and love, exuberance in love and beauty, a universal harmony and love, soul's conflagration. The inner light, ecstasy in cosmic beauty and love, so rare, so magnificent, so cosmic, a spiritual consciousness, conscience and soul, divine spirit and inspiration, cosmic love and light upon human souls. The generation after generation, a stream of cosmic consciousness, a stream of cosmic consciousness, and the ecstasy in love, overflowing from and to the infinity. My second poem, a flame of divine love, a flame of divine love. Many a wintry night, thus sleeplessly spent, many a wintry night, thus sleeplessly spent, the rustling sounds of yellow leaves falling, you and I, though separated, but united, under the one sun, under the one moon. Both we are drenched in the rains with joy. Both we are drenched in the rains with joy and bathed in the pool of laughter. The lavenders spreading fragrance, birds singing melodious songs. A separation is but a fulfillment. A separation is but a fulfillment. We are aware of the Krishna consciousness, Krishna and Radha. Did I lie down alone in silence, but my soul whispering? The moonbeam flooding the window panes, peering through the room, my heart aching with emptiness. Your rainbow face, spilling beauty and luster in the room, only to imagine we are divinely blessed indeed and are made for each other in love. We are made for each other in love. I remember you again and again, everything aching me, not in a balanced state, only to imagine. But it is the divine discretion, a cosmic beauty and brilliance, a flame of love, thus extinguishing, living an angelic enlightenment and glow. And these two poems are from my metaphysical book of poems, Songs of My Soul, metaphysical poetry. And this has been estimated as the first-rate poetry book in the world.
Thank you so much, dear brother. Thank you so much for being here today and sharing your thoughts. And your poetry reminds me of Robert Frost's lines that poetry is when an emotion has found its thought and the thought has found the words. So thank you so much for being here. And now we move on to the next poet. I would like to invite Dr. Anu Girdhar to the stage to make her presentation. She's a dentist by profession and a poet by passion, and she has authored 2 books. So welcome, Anu. Welcome.
Hello, good evening, ma'am, and good evening, fellow poets. I would like to recite a poem titled Don't Wait Until I'm Dead. What happens when you die? At the funeral, loved ones cry. Speak on love, for a glimpse of you they try. Suddenly, everyone cares, might not even have recognized when you were here. Why did they wait until you died to say what they needed to say? Why did they wait to love you back and convey? Don't wait until I am dead. Life is precise and fragile. My dear friend, when I am dead, don't play melancholy rhymes. Don't miss my warmth in cold winter nights. Don't miss my jokes, my mood swings, my cuddles, my obsessions and my fights. Miss me for what I left behind. Miss me for my hugs, for my love notes. Miss me in my poems I used to write. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for giving
Anu.
me this wonderful platform. Thank you.
Thank you. It was great having you here. And sometimes I feel in certain poems, you feel the angst of the poet coming out. And that is what I felt in your poem. And there's so much of truth in it. Yes. Why miss after death? Try to appreciate a person during his lifetime. So well said. So now I go on to invite Dr. Sonia Batra again. She's a dentist by profession and a poet by passion. And we are so happy to have you here, Sonia. You're mute. Mute.
Hello, good evening to all. Good evening to you, ma'am. And here I recite my poem. It's about poverty. How does it feel? How does it feel when there is no jingle of coins or rubbing of currency notes in your pockets? How does it feel when in spite of all, you cannot put on your table one square meal? How does it feel when stomach churns and grumbles with acidity, hunger pangs snatching your sleep? And how does it feel when a homeless child snuggles in crevices out of fear of predators closing in? And how does it feel when a lonely child loses its innocence on torrid culprit of streets? And how does it feel when tiny hands dig into garbage for some leftovers and tidbits? And how does it feel to be a sex worker, entertaining many in one night out of compulsion and not free will? And how does it feel to be an illegitimate child, ever hounded by so-called legitimates, roaming in camouflaged lawful societies, wearing masks of humanity? And above all, how does it feel to feel so helpless in this life, so overhung with catastrophes? And what struggles they struggle to make ends meet? And what determines their fate? Is it karma or some other theory? And one more question. How do they feel when they see around them their fellow men adorned luxuriously? Are they envious? Or simply by grace of God, they do not overthink? Yes, sometimes I have seen some very beautiful smiles adorning their faces amidst all sufferings. And that makes me think, how much of wealth is required to make us happy? Do we really need it to hoard it? And if we are more privileged than them, shouldn't we share our privileges with the needy? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sonia. That was great. And listening to you, I felt that whether we are scientists or artists, whether we are authors or astronauts, the feelings are the same. And that was powerful poetry. Thank you so much. So now I move on to the next guest poet. We have with us Eralieva Umutkun Plotwana from Kyrgyzstan. And she's an international poet, writer, publicist, and translator. I welcome you, Eralieva. Eralieva, are you there? Eralieva, or should we move to the next one?
She had joined, actually. I think I saw her. Just wait and ask once again.
Eralieva, are you there, or can you hear us?
She is unmute.
She's muted, you mean?
Good.
Yeah.
Eralieva, please unmute yourself so that we can hear you.
Randhir, can you help? Randhir?
She has to unmute herself.
Can you tell her?
Please, Eralieva, we are waiting for you. Please unmute yourself. Or we can move to the next one and call her later.
Yes, we can do that.
Thank you.
So now I call upon Zahro Shamsia. She's from Uzbekistan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
You're welcome.
I am from Uzbekistan.
Welcome.
I am from Uzbekistan. Thank you so much. Yes. Kuz xazonrez payti, barglar sarg'aydi. Ming bir ko'chalarda daydiydi xayol. U ana taqdirni tinmay qarg'aydi. Sochlari oqarmay qarigan ayol. 40 jon borligi, barisi o'tirik. O'tirikdir temirdan ekanligi ham. Unga mudom g'am u anduhlar sherik. Xudoga yolvorib yashaydi har on. Bir qo'lida bola, birida kosov, soat millaridek yelib yugurar, yo'q unolmaydi, go'yoki soqov taqdir o'yiniga jimgina ko'nar. Kulganlar kulishdi, yig'lagan ham bor, egnida g'ariblik ridosi ko'rib, hattoki yaqini kelmaydi bir bor. Yaxshimisan deya holini so'rib, oson emas asli yolg'iz ayolga, tunlari yostig'in quchib yig'laydi, falakka nolasi yetadimi yo'q, oyning etagini tirnaydi. Mung'ayib bormoqda bolalari ham, kengayib bormoqda turmushning g'ori, birisi to'ldirsa ikkinchisi kam, uzolmaydi umrning dori. Horg'in xayollari sarxushdek go'yo yostiqqa bosh qo'yib zumda uxlaydi, boshida aylanib alamli dunyo, taqdir qo'shig'ini mungli kuylaydi, tong o'pib uyg'otar yonog'larida. Chiqsam ko'za ko'tarib gul suv bo'yiga, kutasizmi yo'llarimga ko'z tikib, yo bandmisiz o'zga suluv uyida, uyqu bilmay unga maktublar bitib, sog'inchlarni tugib ro'mol uchida, umidimni sochdim bo'lib, intizor alamim bor-hu o'sha cholg'uvchida, yuragimni ezdi kuylab yor-yor, kaftlarimda to'lg'anar ishq qismati, o'rmalagan chiziqlari hijron va muhabbatning qolmadimi qiymati, ko'z yosh to'kib ketayapman menga baxt, o'tiribman dardoshim armon supa, ko'z yoshlarim qo'shilib soy ko'pirdim, yuragim tog' degan edim yanglishdim, sog'inch uni bir lahzada o'pirdi. Ko'zim to'lib suv yoyildi to'rt tomonga uchib ketdi hijron gul, men manzilingiz bilmayman qaysi tomon, xayollarla bandi qilgan ey ko'ngil. Thank you very much. Finish.
Thank you so much. Of course, at times we don't understand the language, but it's poetry. Poetry unites us, and that is what I said that is what I meant when I said that poetry is a bridge. Now we move on to the poet Devdut Mukherjee from West Bengal.
Hello.
From Calcutta. So
hello, am I?
Yeah, please make your presentation.
Yeah, first of all, I would not take much time because Dr. Anand asked me to read one short poem, but I should take time to thank him to let me read my poem in this auspicious evening. Thank you so much, and greetings of the day. I'll read a short poem that I have written for this particular conference on my mother. The name of the poem is Salon. Don't cry, my boy, my mother used to say. Long back, sitting on a high stool, higher than the chair, on the chair. The barber chopped and chopped, and I cried and cried, till all the long hair became short, and my mother smiling at the back of me. Oh, for that smile. That saloon beside a village pond, those afternoons, those tears, my mother's presence, her smile, her voice saying it will be over shortly. I still fall asleep now at salons. The hairstylist wakes me up with some note of disturbance though, and I find tears in my eyes. Ma, will you say once more?
All right. Now.
Imute is there, that girl.
Yeah. Please. Eraliva, please go ahead with your poem.
Thank you so much.
One poem can we have from you, Eraliva?
Yes, please.
Can you hear me? So we need to very shortly go for a break.
Hello.
Dr. Chima, was I audible throughout my poem?
Yes, yes, you were.
Yes,
you were.
yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It has been
Thank
recorded.
you. Thank you. So, Erliva, I think she can't hear us. She's not unmuting herself. So, that was the last poet in this session. And now before I hand over the baton to Sushminder Kaur for the next session, I would like to thank and express my gratitude to the chair of this session, Vinod Khanna sir, Raj Babu Gandham sir, and of course to Jarnail sir for giving me this opportunity. It was great, sir, being a part of this great initiative, and thank you so much for everything. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I would just introduce Sushminder before I leave. Dr. Sushminder Jeet Kaur is an associate professor and head PG Department of English at GGN Khalsa College.
Rindaji, you are mute.
Yes. So before I leave, my gratitude to everyone and especially to Jarnail sir. And I would just like to introduce Dr. Sushminder Jeet Kaur. As I'm handing over the baton to her for the next session, Dr. Sushminder Jeet Kaur is an associate professor and head PG Department of English at GGN Khalsa College, Ludhiana, Punjab, besides being the coordinator of Department of Journalism. She has been teaching English literature to postgraduate students for 23 years, and she is a poet by passion. So I thank all the voices that we just heard. I thank the chair, the co-chair, and last but not the least, I thank Jarnail sir for giving me this opportunity. And it is wonderful to be here today with all of you. Thank you so much. And very shortly, we are going for a break. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We will meet after 9:40.
Now we'll meet after 9:40. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.